The man lies on his bed, listening to music, completely unaware that a heavily armed special task force has surrounded the building. Suddenly, the door is blown open, and he springs up instinctively, taking a defensive stance. With unmatched combat skills, he swiftly and effortlessly neutralizes the intruders, leaving all of them incapacitated within moments. Without hesitation, he grabs his jacket and rushes outside, only to encounter more agents along the way. He strikes with precision and deadly efficiency, taking down each opponent one by one. Just as he reaches the rooftop exit, he is met by an even larger group of fully armed agents, each wielding electric batons. The situation is clearly extremely dangerous, yet despite the overwhelming numbers and firepower, they are powerless against him. The man's name is Ryder. He is the leader of a group of mercenaries backed by the CIA. A life full of danger has made him consider retiring, but 6 months ago, Ryder suddenly traveled to Malta after receiving an invitation from his younger brother, John. John had just been assigned a high-stakes mission with a substantial reward, one that could secure their retirement if completed successfully. Ryder knew the mission would not be easy and initially wanted to decline. However, seeing his sister-in-law happily pregnant, he realized how much his brother needed the money. Determined to support him, Ryder decided to help John carry out the mission. Afterwards, the three of them drive to the team's gathering point in northern Malta. Before long, they meet the other team members, all seasoned veterans who share the same purpose. As everyone chats together, Colonel Hayter steps forward. He is the CIA officer in charge of this mercenary unit. Ryder, however, has no desire to speak with him. A year ago, due to faulty intelligence provided by Hayter, Ryder's team suffered heavy losses in Syria. Although Hayter had apologized for the incident, Ryder could never forgive him, as many of his comrades had died because of that mistake. After a brief meal, Hayter called the action team together for a mission briefing. Their target this time was Khalid Atif, one of the most powerful warlords in Syria. Having repeatedly obstructed U.S. military operations, Khalid had landed on the CIA's elimination list. Once the team received the assignment, they immediately prepared for action, with Ryder once again serving as team leader. Everything was set, and the team set out. They boarded a helicopter and flew toward the mission site, landing just 3 kilometers from their target. Fearing exposure, the team approached on foot. They swiftly neutralized the guards outside before making their way into the building. After the guards outside the surveillance room were taken care of, Vault showcased his skills, effortlessly infiltrating the entire security camera system of the base. Meanwhile, the sniper team quickly found a strategic position, providing crucial intelligence and fire support from above. The entire operation proceeded smoothly. Once the team cleared the obstacles, they began approaching Khalid's room. Through the surveillance system, Vault spotted Khalid smoking inside. Just as the team believed victory was within reach, one member burst through the door, only to find that Khalid was nowhere to be seen. The member immediately reported the situation to Ryder through his earpiece. Before Ryder could even react, a planted bomb detonated instantly. As the explosion subsided, a large group of armed fighters began pouring onto the upper floor. They quickly engaged in fierce combat with team, who were preparing to retreat. Although all the members were seasoned veterans, they were overwhelmed by the sheer number of opponents. The team seemed to gain the upper hand initially, but as Ryder's squad started running low on ammunition, the situation turned dire. Despite their exceptional close combat skills, they were powerless against the barrels of guns aimed at them. Hacker Vault and his companion were also trapped, and, tragically, both were killed on the spot. Now only Ryder and John remained, but soon John was struck by a bullet as well. With no other choice, Ryder fought while dragging his injured brother to safety. Meanwhile, Khalid was hiding elsewhere when he received a phone call. The call came from Hayter. It turned out that the two of them had planned everything in advance. At that time, the U.S. president was traveling to various countries, promoting peace. To ensure the president's speech in Malta went smoothly, Hayter had agreed to help Khalid seize control of the entire country. Ryder's team was nothing more than a pawn. Hayter used them to gain Khalid's trust. Khalid, satisfied with the offer, agreed to the deal. However, Hayter had no idea that John's wife had witnessed the entire phone conversation. Sensing that something was wrong, John's wife approached Hayter to ask what had happened. Hayter assured her that everything was proceeding smoothly and told her to wait without worry. Reluctantly, she turned to leave, but Hayter suddenly drew his gun and shot her. At the same time, Ryder and his brother were trying to escape, only to have a grenade thrown at their feet. The blast's shockwave immediately threw them off balance. John was in critical condition, having lost a massive amount of blood. All around them, terrorists surrounded Ryder and John. Yet, desperate for even a slim chance of survival, they continued to fight against the enemies. But the sheer number of opponents proved overwhelming, and no matter how skilled they were, they could not hold them off. Realizing he could not survive, John took a desperate risk to lure the soldiers away, sacrificing himself to save Ryder. 6 months later, the U.S. President's European European tour was only halfway complete. There is a saying, when the clever rabbit dies, the hound will be killed. Although Hader was utterly loyal to America, he had committed too many wrongdoings for the government, and the president feared that eventually the truth would come to light. He discussed the matter with Bill, the head of the CIA, expressing his desire for Hader to be temporarily retired to avoid unnecessary complications. However, Hader and Bill had been friends for many years, and Bill knew Hader was still useful. He pleaded on Hader's behalf and even used his own honor as a guarantee that no further incidents would occur. Seeing Bill's assurance, the president reluctantly agreed. Before the president departed, he arranged for Bill to transfer Hader to London. Receiving the orders, Hader quickly moved to the city and assumed his new role as the CIA chief in the region. What Hader did not know was that Ryder had recovered and was already preparing to execute his plan for revenge. Ryder arrived first at a bar, exchanged a few words with the bouncer, and walked straight inside. Confidently standing under the surveillance cameras, he quickly caught the attention of the owner, Serena. She had someone deliver a gift to Ryder, but as he approached the bar, he found himself surrounded by a group of bodyguards. Looking into the cold, unyielding eyes of each one, Ryder realized that a fight was inevitable. He struck first, plunging into the chaotic melee. Though his combat skills were extraordinary, the sheer number of opponents created significant challenges. Exhausted and pinned against the bar, Ryder caught sight of a familiar figure. Before he could call out her name, a guard shoved him forcefully, and he lost consciousness. When Ryder regained consciousness, his hands were shackled with heavy chains. Serena then entered with her entourage. She turned out to be Ryder's former lover. Though the two had once shared a deep love, Serena could never accept Ryder's line of work, so she had left for Spain to form her own team. This time, Ryder had sought her out for help. He told her that everyone was dead, even the unborn child. When Serena realized that Hader was behind it all, she felt torn, knowing the immense power he now wielded. But Ryder made it clear that his target was not only Hader. He intended to sabotage the US president's European tour and expose the dark deeds committed by the American government. Serena thought Ryder had lost his mind. How could one man possibly stand against the might of an entire nation? Yet Ryder was resolute. Even if Serena refused to help him, he would carry out his plan alone. At that moment, Hader was playing with his nieces when he suddenly received a call from Bill. Bill told him to turn on the TV and watch the breaking news. The report showed footage of Ryder's team being ambushed and attacked. At such a sensitive time, a scandal like this was disastrous. Furious, Bill demanded an explanation from Hader, but Hader had no idea what was happening and immediately rushed back to work. After CIA agents launched an investigation, they discovered the video had been uploaded from Rome via the dark web, making it nearly impossible to trace the source. Just then, an analyst made a new discovery. A man calmly walking beneath a surveillance camera was none other than Ryder. The footage was from the west side of Rome 3 days earlier. At that time, Ryder had just been turned down by Serena. He was staying at a hotel, listening to music and reading a book, unaware that beneath him, a heavily armed special forces unit was already in position. Hader keeps a close watch on the special task force through his screen, while Ryder, distracted by the deafening music, fails to sense the danger until the door is blown open. He reacts instantly, launching into combat against operatives armed with stun batons. Yet with only a thick book in hand, he manages to fight them off. Even after being grazed by a bullet during his escape, Ryder's agility allows him to survive, though the scene leaves Hader seething as he orders his men to hunt Ryder down at all costs. On the run, Ryder hijacks a car and desperately drives towards Serena's bar, where her men rush to support him, and Serena herself quickly administers first aid. But the sharp pain and heavy blood loss prove overwhelming, and Ryder ultimately collapses into unconsciousness. 3 days later, Ryder finally regains consciousness, his wounds carefully treated. From his bed, he sees Serena tending to the plants in the yard, a moment of calm after the chaos. To keep him safe, Serena has taken him to her secret hideout, knowing that Hader and his men are searching everywhere. Yet Ryder seems unfazed. He has endured dangers like this many times before. Still, his injury stirs something in Serena, prompting her to change her mind and stand by his side. She resolves to help him see his plan through, leading him to the backyard. Serena arranges for a local smuggler to provide a modified truck fully equipped with everything Ryder might need, including a specialized satellite communication system, ensuring his journey can continue with a fighting chance. With the modified truck, Ryder manages to slip across the border into Malta, setting the stage for the next step in his revenge plan. Meanwhile, the leaked video has already sent shockwaves across the globe, drawing the attention of the president himself. Demanding answers, he turns to Bill, who along with Hader fears the president's wrath and insists the footage was nothing more than the work of a disgruntled former employee, downplaying its severity. Bill pledges to handle the media fallout, while Hader promises to take care of the rest, earning them them one last chance. After the president departs, Bill warns Hader that if he intends to keep his position, he must crush the problem by any means necessary. Hader responds with a smirk, revealing he has already traced Ryder's trail to Malta, and indeed, Ryder has just crossed the border in the smuggler's truck. There, Serena waits, ready to settle their deal. But when it comes time to pay, the smuggler claims the money isn't enough. Knowing Ryder is a CIA fugitive, he seizes the opportunity to extort Serena. Yet she is far from the type to bow to such threats. Tension erupts immediately, but despite being outnumbered, Serena's men prove far stronger, swiftly taking down the smuggler's crew. When the smuggler makes a desperate grab for his gun, Serena pins him to the ground with her boot, ensuring Ryder's safe passage into Malta without paying a cent. From there, the two waste no time in launching the next phase of their mission. Malta, with its long and turbulent history, offers the perfect battleground. Centuries ago, Christian settlers carved underground homes and tunnels to evade Roman armies and safeguard their civilization. Later, during World War II, these tunnels were expanded, sprawling beneath the island like veins, and they remain functional even today. Ryder and his team must now devise a way to lure their target underground, a challenge that plays directly to Ryder's strengths. Splitting up, he and Serena move in different directions, tasked with planting glow sticks to map out a continuous tunnel leading from the city to the outskirts. Along the route, they rig explosives beneath the manholes that line the president's path, setting the stage for an ambush that could change everything. With everything in place, Serena hands Ryder a sniper rifle she had prepared in advance, knowing he is the linchpin of the entire operation. Failure on his part would put everyone at risk, yet Ryder remains calm and composed, radiating confidence as the mission unfolds. The next day, as planned, the president begins his speech at the central square in Malta. At the same moment, Ryder, fully armed, takes position and carefully locks onto his target. Waiting for the perfect opportunity, he squeezes the trigger, sending a bullet grazing past the president's hand. Chaos instantly erupts across the square. Bill and the security detail rush in, hustling the president toward his car. But as the vehicle crosses a drainage tunnel, Ryder's teammates trigger an explosive, crippling the convoy in a fiery blast. Right then, Serena drives up in an ambulance, disguised as a doctor, swiftly loading the president inside, before speeding away with him under the guise of emergency rescue. Hader quickly senses something is wrong. The ambulance's perfectly timed arrival raises his suspicion, and after a brief moment of thought, he realizes it's a trap. But by then, it already seems too late. Inside the ambulance, Serena calmly administers a sedative to the president right in front of his bodyguards, ensuring he remains unconscious during the escape. Yet as the vehicle speeds away, the two agents on board receive Hader's urgent warning. Serena notices the shift immediately and reaches for her stun gun, but the president's guards are fast and highly trained. In the tight space of the ambulance, one of them swiftly gains the upper hand, turning the tables on Serena just as the mission teeters on the edge of collapse. Inside the ambulance, chaos intensifies as the driver struggles with a bodyguard in the front seat. Forced to keep his eyes on the road, he momentarily falls into a disadvantage, and the ambulance swerves violently across the street. In the back, Serena, unable to overpower her opponent with brute force, draws her weapon. During their fierce struggle, the guard's gun goes off, shattering the sunroof with a deafening crack, alerting the pursuing security team behind them. Acting fast, the driver manages to knock out his assailant and slams the brakes, giving Serena the opening she needs. She delivers a crushing kick, then smashes the guard with a fire extinguisher, finally neutralizing the threat inside. But danger still looms outside as the escorting vehicles close in. Just as Serena braces herself, the driver warns her to buckle up before ramming the ambulance straight into a wall. A massive explosion erupts, and when the security team rushes forward, they discover the vehicle is empty. Serena and her crew have already spirited the president away through a hidden underground tunnel. When word of this reaches Hader, he is shaken. With thousands of tunnels sprawling beneath the island, finding the president again will be nearly impossible. A short while later, Serena and Ryder reunite, and he pulls her into a heartfelt embrace, deeply moved by the woman who has risked everything for him. Together, they approach the president, removing the black hood from his head. Terrified, the president mistakes Ryder for a terrorist, but Ryder calmly clarifies that he is an American and once served under Hader. At that, the president's eyes widen with recognition. He had long suspected Hader might bring him trouble, and now his worst fears have come true. When the president demands to know Ryder's purpose in capturing him, Ryder replies that it is for him to repent. Soon after, the world watches a breaking news broadcast. The President of the United States appears before the cameras, openly apologizing and confessing the wrongs he committed throughout his presidency. Public opinion erupts instantly, shaking the nation to its core. Realizing he can no longer escape responsibility, Bill takes his own life with a gun, while Hader flees abroad, hoping to vanish into anonymity for the rest of his days. But just as he drives off to freedom, Ryder suddenly steps into his path. Panic flashes across Hayter's face, moments before Ryder presses a detonator, igniting an explosion that engulfs the vehicle. In an instant, the man behind all the chaos is obliterated, and, with it, Ryder finally avenges his fallen comrades. That's the end of today's movie breakdown. Thanks for watching, and see you again in the next videos.